Well, good morning. I'm so happy that you're here. Today, I want to talk about discounting the positives. That's part three of the negative distortion series to beat anxiety that I've been putting out there for you. So discounting positives is similar to mental filtering. I think I spoke about it before. It's just letting some things through. And I don't mean the positives. Often we just let the negatives and the doubts through. That can be really detrimental for anyone suffering from anxiety. So discounting the positive is actually a habit. It's a habitual way of disregarding our success and our strength while we focus instead on what we consider to be our weaknesses and our flaws and our failures. So in our mind, if something isn't perfect, it's by default flawed. So since perfection rarely, if ever, I don't actually think exists in our world, so pretty much everything is considered a failure or flawed in some way. And I've definitely been found guilty about this thinking. So if you're wondering where I am, I actually built myself a tiny house and I'm just in it now. I'm going to move in here next week, which I'm super excited about. I might put a video out if you want it. Then comment. All right, so my name is Susanne McCallister. I'm the anxiety specialist managing my own anxiety, and I also used to tend to discount the positives. So I want to tell you about my client Marianne, who is a fantastic mom, and her daughter suffers from anxiety. And of course, all names have been changed, and I have asked for the story to come out. So Marianne is really struggling with the concept of discounting the positives, which also affects her daughter and which I can see in her as well. So her daughter Lauren, I've been working with her for quite a while now, and I'm super excited for the changes that I've seen. So she had to do a presentation in front of the whole class, and we had worked towards this for a few weeks. She did really, really well. I was so proud of her. Her teacher gave her really good feedback. But Lauren's response was, can you guess? She's only been nice to me because she knew how hard this was for me, and because I chickened out last time, so she kind of had to be saying something nice, but it wasn't really that good. And Marianne's response was, she was only able to do this because you taught her the skills to get up, otherwise it wouldn't have been like that. So instead of looking at the positives, she was discounting the positives that we have. So do you see what's happening here? So both the mom and the daughter are discounting the positives, and which can lead to feelings of more anxiety even, and feeling more strange and feeling more scared, feeling more depressed, and also feeling hopeless in some way, because if we depend on everything and everybody else and putting ourselves down. But so let me talk a little bit about how I help her, and I just wanted to say thanks so much for showing up on my channel today. So if you like my videos, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell there so you never miss my new content. So I live here on the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Australia. I coach and counsel people all over the world. I'm the founder of the Anxiety Academy, and I've been working with people, especially with anxiety, over the last 10 years. So I help anxious overthinkers to get their heads and hearts into the place and right space where they can reach their goals. So the goals that they might have in their relationships, and often parenting the anxious child, having job interviews. Often my clients have social anxiety. Children that I work with, they don't want to get off their devices. They don't want to get out there. Adults I work with, they don't want to show up at parties, go out there. And often they're really high functioning. They're doing all these things, but they have this crippling anxiety within themselves. So my passion is to help parents help their anxious children to have the friendships that they want to have and to be happy alive at school. So I have some great resources, so don't click off. We're getting back to, to Lauren and Marianne. I'm going to give you 5 helpful tips there. And I also want to say on my website, I've got a free video series for adults and a free video series for children that you don't want to miss if you have anxiety or suffer from anxiety. All there for you, great resources, SuzanneMcCallister.com. So let's go back to Lauren and Marianne. So what does it mean for Lauren and Marianne exactly? So the main difference is that they both dismissed something positive and joyful and something that would have decreased their anxiety. So they declared it or labeled it as something of no value when they were thinking about the positive aspects of the presentation that she did. And you know, we women, we do this a lot, don't we? I definitely have done this a lot. So if someone compliments us and says, oh, I really love this crazy blouse that you're wearing today, we think they're just being nice, or we just play it down. And so I would have said in the past, it's like, oh, it's just really old. I got this at the op shop. Or, oh, I really like your dress. Or, yeah, this was a bargain. Or I would feel I have to repay them for the thing that they said to me because they're just saying something to be nice. And I didn't just need it just to say something. So now I just say, and I had to do a lot of work on myself. As I say, I'm the therapist managing my own anxiety and have done for many, many years through trauma, through death, through loss, through everything else. So now I just say, thank you. And I take it in my body and I enjoy the compliment. So I would like to know how this shows up for you. So I would like you to comment below and let me know if this shows up for you, or what are things that are positive things and people might say to you and you think, oh no, they're only saying this, or they're only doing this because of them. So discounting positives is finding reasons that your positive experience is unimportant or that you don't count. So what you're basically saying is you don't count, your experience doesn't count, everybody else's is better, bigger, or more worthy. So when your default thinking pattern is to discount the positives, then you build a bias towards the negative experience that you have. And that's not because you don't see the good, but because you think negative ones are just more important and more meaningful for your identity or that of your child. So raise your hand if that happens to you. So let me know. So if that happens when we discount, oh sorry, I've got somebody here. Okay. So what happens when we discount the positive things in our lives? And there are big side effects when we do that to ourselves, and they're really not pretty. I see them all the time. We have an inferiority complex. We feel more inferior. We have more anxiety. We lack confidence. We lose our energy, and we actually procrastinate lots of the things as well. Then, because we think, oh well, if this is how it is, then it's not really worth it for me, is it? All right. So discounting the positive. Discounting the positives then has all these negative side effects that we make. Instead of the good things that happen because you do or say something, instead you just reason that it was lucky or a happy accident or a weird coincidence, and you say a lot of yes, but. So this is one of the things, if you catch yourself, then you can see that you're discounting this. And that creates a lack of helplessness, because you don't feel that you have any control over the positive things in your life, and motivation goes down, especially in my anxious children, to go out and do something. It also shows up as imposter syndrome, a feeling that you don't deserve your own success, even when there's strong evidence on the contrary. I've been in a room full of psychologists and psychiatrists, and we all had imposter syndrome, I can tell you that. But why do we do it? Is there anything positive? Is there a payoff? So I have a theory that we're only trying to keep ourselves safe from anxiety all the time, and that we try to protect ourselves. Because if we play it down or we deny our strength, then and our accomplishments, we feel safer. We lower our expectations of ourselves so that we don't have the pressure to perform like this, or God, we were even better the next time. After all, if you were successful, or if Laura was successful with this presentation, and what would it be the next time? What would she have to do next time? Would it be bigger? And then she thinks this will give her more anxiety. So are you going to be expected to repeat this success, or make it even bigger or better? And so we become anxious and scared of the possibility, and this is why we discount the positives. We refuse the credit for it, and that's what I call the fear of success. But of course, we don't do this consciously. We don't go, this is what I'm doing. It's just our unconscious way for self-preservation that happens deep in our psyche. And often it needs an expert like me, or a therapist, to bring these things out to the surface. But if you catch yourself to say yes, but a lot, that's one of the triggers and one of the things. So it's a bad habit, so we can change it. Woo, that's the good news. So either on your own or with help, but being conscious of it is the very important first step. So I guide my clients. So I help my clients with lots of online coaching programs. We really dive deep, but I really want to share some of the snippets that I teach them as well, that you can apply right here and right now to stop discounting yourself, to lower your anxiety, and to really get where you want to be. So I use mindfulness to observe yourself. So using mindfulness to observe yourself, tip number 1, and the language that you use to become aware, to identify the problem. But observing yourself like a scientist, not with the whip and the stick. So open-minded with curiosity, so putting your lab coat on and going like, oh. So you might recognize that you can't accept a compliment. So observing the language that you use. Is it thanks, but my butt looks really fat in this? Or thanks, but it wasn't really that good. So asking yourself, how come, second thing, how come you find this hard to accept? Maybe you don't feel you deserve the compliment, or you feel too anxious or too shy. Or maybe you worry about where accepting the compliment might lead, if it's from somebody that you actually care about. So remember to be neutral in your observation. So identify how you would like to be able to respond instead, and visualize your new response. Next tip, maybe you'd like to be able to accept compliments with grace. So really seeing yourself to say something different. So next tip is to create your strategy. For me, it's like when I say no to myself, or I say stop, or I say better when I talk to myself negatively, and choosing the positive response instead of the negative ones. So I have learned over the years that be kind to myself and give myself empathy when I mess up, and it does not come naturally to me. My natural tendency is to whip and to be like really negative, messed up. So nothing is perfect. That is the beauty of life though. So compassion and mindfulness have been a savior for me and for my clients. And then the last step is to celebrate your success. So even the small ones, allowing yourself a mindful moment to feel the pleasure of having accepted a compliment without discounting it. For doing, Laura, for doing her presentation, to really receive the positivity and the compliment, and to realize that it's something important. Receiving doesn't come easy for many of us, definitely doesn't come easy for me. For me, I love giving out presents. When people give me presents, I'm like, oh. So celebrating the wins. So if you're a parent of an anxious child, helping them through, it's also being transparent and open about how you think and how you're working on yourself, how you work it through. So modeling it to your child. That takes off the pressure of the child to want to live up to your expectations. And of course, there's a fine line. Too much information can lead to more anxiety. So if in doubt, get in touch. I can help. This is what I do. This is my specialty. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. I hope these 5 tips were really helpful to you. And you can keep watching them. And as I say, so on my website, there's lots of free resources for you. It's SuzanneMcCallister.com. There's lots of links there. I have a 3-part video series, and I have a 5-part video series. One is for children and one is for adults with anxiety. So I help you to help your anxious children as well. I'm really passionate about that, and I help young women in particular as well. And teenagers. I love teenagers. All right, so this is it for me in my cognitive distortion series, and I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, so step number 1, maybe you just want to start there, and a little bit of step number 2, where you're like catching yourself saying, yes, but. Yes, that was nice, but it wasn't perfect. Oh yes, somebody compliments about, oh, you made like some nice dinner for them. Yes, that was good, but the beans were overcooked. Or yes, but you know, I've had dinner at yours and it's 10 times better. So all the things where we catch ourselves saying yes, but to others, but also to ourselves, like the way, how do you speak to yourself? Because if you discount the positives all the time to yourself, as I said, like the side effects can really cause like severe anxiety and depression, and also procrastination, because if we say yes but all the time, we never get to do the things. We never get to go to the party, we never get to the school formal, we never get to speak up, like at lunchtime. I'm just talking about the teenagers that I'm working. We never get to speak up at lunchtime, you know, it's communication is a real problem if you're discounting the positives. All right, lots of pressure on you there. So I hope you enjoy this, and please share it with somebody as well. Send it to somebody that you know might benefit from this, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.